The future, the reality humanity has aimed to achieve ever since we existed, the name, Frutiger Aero. Unfortunately though, we haven't even been able to come close to what we expected. Instead, we got this. Well, during my daily session of lamenting my sorrows and thinking what could have been, I caught myself with a strong feeling about the Windows XP theme. And then I decided to search it up, because I really wanted to know what that style was. The vibes were so incredible, and the result was none other than the Frutiger Aero, a style that first appeared around 2001 with the release of Windows XP. I mean, one could argue that it actually appeared with the famous Windows Vista, but it is still the same shit. You get it. And its main characteristics were the bleachy and glossy aesthetic, windows and design. But it wasn't until 2004 that it became mainstream, when the Y2K futurism saw its natural decline. And then the Frutiger Aero emerged, with important devices adopting the style, like the glorious King Xbox 360, the Nintendo Wii, and the iPod. From that point on, Frutiger Aero would be pretty much in everything, literally everything. Because the style was pretty earthy, companies decided to use it to label themselves as green companies that lived in harmony and peacefully with nature and did care about the environment, which makes sense because Aero is an acronym for authentic, energetic, reflective, and open, while Frutiger is, well, it's just Frutiger. I guess it's just because Adrian Frutiger is the creator of the Frutiger typeface, which is used in Frutiger Aero, therefore the name. Frutiger Aero has a strong relation with nature. For instance, look at the Windows background. It is so natural. This feels like an endless landscape, so green and calm. The predominant colors are blue and green, which are common colors.
So when we are looking at color temperature, we can go back to the color wheel and think of the cooler colors, because automatically cooler colors will help us feel calmer, and especially blues and greens and purples that are on the more blue side and a cooler blue side.
This natural look has even become a subgenre of Frutiger Aero called Frutiger Eco. This subcategory became kind of a default look for most companies. Again, they were trying to label themselves as eco-friendly. They really wanted to make you feel some comfort and show you that the future was bright and promising. According to its wiki page, the future Frutiger Eco envision was heavily focused on renewable energy and living in harmony with nature. You must have seen famous Frutiger Eco images like these when you were a kid. And unlike other aesthetics, Frutiger Eco seems to be so much more optimistic about the future, transmitting a reality in which humanity was able to become fully eco-friendly and technological. Another subgenre of Frutiger Aero is the Dark Aero. This is the perfect subgenre if you're emo but feel green and renewable inside. I think the second most recognizable subgenre though is the Helvetica Aqua. I don't know how to say this shit. It's in the screen, just be happy with that. I'm not gonna try and say this shit. Which portrayed images related to the sea, with fish and rainbows and sunshines. It is very related to Frutiger Eco, and actually they both go hand in hand. Maybe this is the reason people do generalize both and call them just Frutiger Aero. This category also shows an optimistic and ideal reality in which we live in harmony with nature. Images usually show very clean water and seemingly healthy marine life. Although dolphins are kind of synonymous with happiness, I believe the goat of this aesthetic is the clownfish. Bro was everywhere. Think blue when you think clownfish. Maybe that's why Finding Nemo got so popular. The last subgenre I think is worth mentioning is the four colors. I don't really know if that can be considered a subgenre, but in the sources I'm using to make this video, which are in the description by the way, have the four colors as a subgenre, so I will stick to it. The four colors are extremely recognizable, and they consisted of, I shit you not, four colors that were green, blue, purple, and orange, and it seems they were supposed to represent the colors of different Japanese seasons, which is very cool. Companies made their product in a way in which these colors would be heavily associated with them. There are many examples of objects that have at least one of these colors. It became really corporate at some point and very popular among consumers. Now that we are a bit situated with what was Frutiger Aero, I want to show the impact it had on different media. For starters, they completely took over movies and TV. It was really rare to watch a movie which did not incorporate Frutiger Aero in any way. Movies like Avatar, Cars 2, Lorax, and Rio are a solid example of that. All these movies had plots that were at least to a small extent related to environmental issues. Lorax is the biggest example of it. I mean, come on, dude. You cannot say you don't see it. In TV, there were shows like Lazy Town and Teletubbies, which not only were an embodiment of Frutiger Aero, but also made our childhood more fun. Let me tell you something. If you didn't like Sporticos, you are straight up a bad guy. He was such a goat. The game industry also followed the trend. Any game from the Nintendo Wii like Super Mario Galaxy and other games like Portal, Mirror's Edge, and even Minecraft are good examples of games that adhere the style. Many of these games, and probably everything else I mentioned so far, were advertised as eco-friendly. I mean, the game's not really. At least not Minecraft. Minecraft was just Minecraft. But that happened for a reason. It's because Frutiger Aero was everywhere. I think you probably remember ads like the phone surrounded by glossy bubbles or electronics surrounded by fish and water. Perhaps because technology was in a way kind of emerging at that time, it was easy to spread the Frutiger Aero idea because whenever someone bought any electronic, they would see glossy and bubbly fish and green landscapes with their products. Not that technology wasn't a thing back then, but back then was much more purple and cyberpunky, whereas at that time in which Frutiger Aero was emerging, it was just heavily associated with green stuff and being, I don't know, protective of nature. I don't know why, but when I think which places could be considered a Frutiger Aero place, I think of European countries like the Netherlands or Sweden. And it feels like the world wasn't really keen on investing in a very sustainable way of living. I think this issue, along with other environmental issues, started to appear more towards the end of the Frutiger Aero era. Maybe this happened because we realized the future we envisioned never really came to reality and we got this shitty ass place we are in now. But it's pretty cool. I mean, we got GTA 6 coming, so that's cool. But I believe people were a little happier at that time, at least vibes. The vibes were much more joyful than now, and maybe because of the colors, because right now every fucking place or house is just colorless. It's either gray or white. They don't have fucking personalities anymore. Even the McDonald's, you went from a fucking welcoming, friendly clown to a fucking emo. And not even a cool emo. It became a fucking boring one. Like a sad boy whose profile picture is like Bart Simpson crying. McDonald's became a fucking sad boy. Another reason I think that the Frutiger era was more vibey is because the internet wasn't as big as it is today. Like nowadays we have many different niches on the internet. It pretty much went from an extension of your daily life to a marketplace. People try to share every single thing online and compare themselves with others, which obviously can have serious implications on one's mental health. We thought of a utopian future that would happen, but we never really had the balls to make it happen. And honestly, I think it's unlikely that this future will happen anytime soon. And I'm not gonna be only complaining because back in the Frutiger era, we didn't have Red Dead 2 or Better Call Saul, so I mean, it's not that bad. And speaking of now, the Frutiger era kind of came back for a while, some time ago, but I think it was more because we were all doped with nostalgia. The style started to decline around 2013, when companies started to adopt a more minimalistic and flat design, which will never substitute my glorious king clownfish, but I guess they're kind of cool still. In any case, I think Frutiger Aero has to stay where it is, which is the past. Should come up with something new and cooler, because for fuck's sake, nowadays every single human being is craving so much nostalgia that we don't even look forward anymore. Everything now is about the past. Holy shit. I think we gotta do something cool for the next few years, like something optimistic, because we're just taking shit after shit. We are even campaigning to magically turn 2026 into a new 2016. That's kind of sad, but as long as Blizzard fixes Overwatch and stops being greedy as fuck, I'm fine with that. Like, they updated Overwatch and apparently it's pretty cool. I haven't played yet, and I'm not gonna play anytime soon because I'm not gonna fall for it. I'm not gonna fall for this bait, Blizzard. I know how you work. But yeah, that's it. Goodbye.